Hello everyone, Steve here. So for today's video, I'm going to be talking about poetry, or specifically a book about poetry, of course, which I feel like you guys should read. Yeah, which you guys should get. You guys should read, of course. And the book I'm referring to is The Flowers of Evil. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because of and the reason why I'm talking about this is simply because of because I feel like because I didn't really read it, more like I listened to like the audiobook of it, simply because I didn't really have time to like finish reading it. Even though you can like finish the book in like less than an hour, like it won't take long to it's a quick to finish when it comes to reading. And so if you guys have like time to either actually read the book, you could, or if you don't, you can just always listen to the audiobook. Either one of those two is fine. But yeah, generally like I've read oh not read, more like listened to the audiobook of Flowers of Evil, which I ended up like getting into the book from from like both from both the manga and anime of the same title. Well, that being The Flowers of Evil. The only difference being there's the in it. Well, the actual book of course doesn't have the. It's just Flowers of Evil. But anyways, yeah, and the reason why I was interested in the book is simply because like in the anime, because in the series, of course, the book plays an important role. Of course, was that plays an important role was and was the main cat is is plays an important role, that being it's essentially responsible for pretty much for essentially making our MC making like all the decisions and all the things he did, of course, in the series, which I won't get into any spoilers, since that's something you should get. Yeah, since I feel like you guys should get into the series yourself. The Flowers of Evil, it's a really good manga as well. The manga for it is like really good. I recommend like anyone to get I don't know, anyone to get into it. And then for like the anime, like the anime is good as well. However, the only thing of course that people don't really like about it, and I've been hearing people don't really like about it, it's like the animation style that they use. Retroscoping, I think that's it called. Yeah, something like that, of course, which people are not really big fan of course, and literally like fans of the series, of course, end up like hating the show for like using that art style, which led them to like not to which didn't really which led to the series, of course, ending on like the first season, even though they had plans of making a second season and probably even a third, if if they didn't, if the fans want complaining, or if the fans want too much I don't know, crybabies, of course, about for like that for like the art style. But that's beside that. I'm kind of like getting off topic. But yeah, like I feel like and I was interested, of course, of like what the book is about. Like I know it's like a collection of poetry, of course, from from like some French guy, of course. I forgot his name. Yeah, which I was kind of interested, of course, of like what are the that being what other poems are, and like what do like they talk about, of course. So I pretty much like I don't know, went on YouTube, put my headphones on clicked on like any good like audiobooks, of course, to listen to while I'm like doing something else, that being just doing some chores around the house, homework, all that jazz, and just listen to it, of course. And as I was listening to it, like I really like enjoy the poems, of course. Like sure, there was some, of course, that and I had a hard time like wrapping around my head, of course, about the themes. But there were some other ones that I really like resonate with. They really I which I understand what they were talking about. One of the poems, of course, I got really attached to is beauty. Yeah, of course. Like I really like I don't well I don't yeah, like I don't know, I was like very entrench, or I don't know what the word. Yeah, I was like very interested in that poem specifically, of course. I don't know, like I don't know, I just find it like very interesting. I can't really explain why, of course. No, I can't really explain like the meaning behind the poem, since I'm not really good at that. Like I'm not really good at like analyzing like poems, of course. Like I'm no poetry. I'm no like poetry. I don't know what the people call who do poetry. Yeah, I'm not those. Like I'm not really good at like analyzing poetry or anything. Like it takes a while for me to like to wrap that in my head. But overall, like I still loved it. It's really good, of course, and I do understand like the themes and what's and the message, the message behind it. And yeah, and then speaking of that, I guess I can also, I'm probably gonna get into like more like poetry books, of course, or any like books that talk about like very heavy subjects, of course, you know, oh, to like, you know, enlighten my brain. Hmm. And yeah, I think that's all I have to say for today's video. Like I know I already made a video before about like talking about, you know, people should like, you know, read books more, you know. But yeah, and I guess this is kind of like a second video of it, but but yeah, but generally, you know, you guys should really, you know, get start reading to some books that being either like comic books, novels, graphic novels, anyway, anything that involves reading, you should get into that because you know you end up gonna, you know, enjoy like some of the stories you're gonna read. You're gonna read, you know. And yeah, that's all I have to say for for today's video. So yeah, I hope you guys have a really good really good day, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. So yeah, bye bye.